Hey YouTube, we're here with the Cessna 182 UMX. Quick with floats right at the moment. And here the other day we started the process of doing LEDs, which I got soldered up and ready on these very lightweight rather lightweight wire. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and finish this project, hopefully to get the lights installed onto the plane, and we're going to do that right now. So just wanted to let you know we've got green, red, white, and white. So we got one as a simulated landing light, and then one as a tail light for us. And I don't know if I explained what this contraption was on the last video, but I'll just explain it real quick. This is a little simulation of a plane. I use this battery to plug into it, and then I pull off receiver voltage so I can sample what these things are going to do when they're hooked up to the receiver level voltage, which is off of one servo wire. As you can see here, I've got the positive and negative, which is just tapped off of one of these servo wires. I've got the signal wire detached. Of course, I don't need to control any signal for that. And just wanted to give you a quick review of that so that you knew what the heck was going on with that weird contraption. So, getting back to where we left off, we've got obviously these lights, and then we have some resistors here that are going to be used to give us our current limiting resistance so that these LEDs don't immediately burn out. So what I need to do is I need to remember that each of these lines are marked with a black, or there is an absence of a mark, which will tell us which side is our negative lead in this case. And that's going to tell us where the resistor needs to go. The trouble is, because the nature of this plane, I can't split it in half, or excuse me, I can't necessarily split it in half without creating some damage to the plane. So I'm very torn. You can see I put a little piece of tape. That's white, that's red, and that's, hold on, and that's green, just to help remind me where everything needs to go. And, but I can't easily split this plane because it's glued together. And also, I don't know if I'm interested in cutting off the wing here, cutting this tape and cutting this tape, which would allow me some access underneath, because I'm just afraid it's gonna break. So the other option is, of course, you could break the seam here where this plastic, this is all plastic here, very thin plastic I might add, but it attaches all the way around like a canopy. And then these struts help to provide a little additional strength and support. So ideally, if I was doing this plane, I would like all these wires from all the LEDs that are going to be installed to come back to one common point so that they can be terminated to one of the servo attachment points inside of this plane, as you can see here. The trouble is, I don't want to compromise this plane yet because it's brand new and beautiful. So the only option I have right now, if I don't want to do that, is to pull out the servo line. One big advantage on this plane is that there's no paint. It's just raw foam, and then of course there's paint on certain decorative areas, and then there's decals in other areas. So if we pull this tape off, there will be no damage. And then if we can pull this wire up and out of that groove, we can use that to actually get our power for, in that case, that'd be the green side. And so then we just have to protect that wire out to wherever we mount the green light, which is probably going to be somewhere 1/5 way back, probably on the slightly leading edge. It's probably going to be a little bit forward of where it would be on a real plane, but then you have a better chance of seeing it when the plane's flying at you. So anyway, that's my plan. That's what I've been thinking through, and I'm still struggling with it a bit, especially over here because we've got 2 points that need to tap power. So if we concentrate on that wing, it's the same as the other wing, so you could really look at either one and get the same idea. But if you imagine, I want to kind of put this approximately in this area, so I might go around or I might go up here. I haven't really decided. It doesn't really matter. But by the time you add these resistors in here, which, you know, they're not real big, it just definitely, you're going to see them. So I'm not sure if the best option is to just try to get on with it and open this up, and then I can go ahead and cut in the flaps, because I would like to do flaps. But anyway, that's been my struggle here. That's why I've been waiting so long to do this. So I think the first step for us is going to be to maybe just dive in with both feet and just cut this tape and see if it'll peel off, and then see if the wing will come off. So I'm going to try that real quick. I'll show you how it goes. So real quick, I mean, if I'm going to do that, I got to pull these things out. So I'll show you how that works. If you haven't already figured it out, I mean, if you can't figure that out, you probably shouldn't be doing a project like this. You're going to end up screwing up your plane. Okay, so these things don't appear to be labeled. So, but the idea is this is going to be flat when it goes in. If you try to put it in the wrong way, it's going to try to go up at a weird angle. So you'll be able to remember how to put them. So I'm just going to discard those for the moment, and detaching the other side now. Just push it forward gently until it pops out. Then just give it a little bit of a tip, and it comes right out. So those struts are off now, and of course the next step is to cut the top free. Okay, so one option I guess I could explore is just peeling the tape back too. The thing that's nice about this option is that if I peel it back and I don't like the way it looks, then I can just put another piece of tape on. One thing I can tell you is that whatever tape they use at Horizon Hobby, it's really, really good tape. So I'm going to start by peeling on the plastic so that as I put my fingernail against the plastic, I won't damage the plastic in any way. Whereas if I did that on the foam, I'd very likely damage it. Okay guys, trying to get you a little better angle here. I hate doing this to a new plane. It's like the most scary thing. If you're gonna do something like this to your planes, you gotta be kind of ballsy, I guess. Yeah, that tape is very strong. Okay, so I peeled that tape off, and nothing magical about it. I'll go ahead and stick it over here in case I decide I want to try to measure it for some reason. I'm not sure why I would want to do that, but ironically enough, that tape is probably just to hold the wing while the glue sets up, which is looking more and more like that. But at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and continue the task at hand, and then you guys can copy suit if you decide you want to do the same project. And if you notice, once I get this tape peeled, then my hope is I can turn around and then I can gain access to where all my wires need to terminate. And that way I can hide all the resistors inside. Ah, that was kind of crappy. You see how it left that residue there? I'm actually going to take this tape and just stick it back down and peel it. Yeah, it didn't quite take it off. You don't want to use any chemicals on that plastic because it will very likely be worse off if you do that. Okay, so we have the tape free now. What I might do real quick is just grab this Windex here, and this is just regular Windex, nothing really special about it. And I'm going to get a little bit on the rag and try to clean that Windex. Just get a little bit of Windex on there. One thing I learned, I was detailing cars years ago, and I learned it's very easy to scrape things like plastic, so you'll want to be very sparing on the amount of pressure you put here. If you go too crazy, you'll just scrape it up. It's going to look like crap. But the silicone that's inside this Windex, it should help to kind of break down that adhesive, which it is. So I'll go ahead and pause it, and I'll come back to you when I get that off of there. Okay, after a couple of minutes of frustration, I decided I was going to use my Instaset. For whatever reason, that seems to break down adhesive without changing the finish on the glass, or plastic in this case. And look at that. It came off near perfect. It was easier. Now I'm just going to switch back to the rag where I have my Windex, and I'll just clean off that extra product. That worked really, really good, guys. I'm going to have to remember that for when I'm working on my car or something. Or a product that I purchase for the kids that has stupid safety labels that need to be cut off. Alright guys, that looks perfect now. Look at that. That's beautiful. No junk on it. It had a big old chunk. Oh, there's just a little bit more. Either way, you get the idea. Okay, so I got the front and the back windshield clean now. Now the scary moment of truth, which is where I decide whether or not I made a mistake pulling the tape off. And I'm going to go ahead and try to peel this up and away. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift, and I can see some separation happening. Looks like a double-sided tape. So obviously when we're done with this, we're going to need to replace it. So whatever I do, I have to do it in a way that I can redo later. So the double-sided tape, and by the way, real quick point, if you guys don't have the floats on here, it's probably a little easier to work with this plane without floats on. So I might end up just switching back for now, but I haven't decided yet. So one other thing you can do is that kicker has some strange side effects I've noticed, and one of them is that it will break down adhesive. So I'm just going to give it a couple of kisses. That's a bad side effect that will burn you. So you might as well take advantage of it when you can, you know. So get it in there, let it do a little bit of work. It will take off finish if you're not careful and you get too much of it on there. But you can tell it's already working. Oh yeah, she's going to come off of there just fine. I might actually give it a spray right into the opening as I peel it back. I'm going to spray it onto the wing and just let it run down. Okay, so, oh yeah, it's working on that adhesive. It's just letting go. A little bit at a time, guys. Just work it slow. You don't want to destroy this thing. Oh man, I hate doing this to new planes, but whatever. That's life, man. Oh yeah, sweet. Sweet, sweet. I think I got it released. Now I just got to do the other side. I'm going to pause it. I'll come back to you guys and show you what it looks like when we're done. Okay, so quick update, guys. We got the wing lifted on most of this side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give one little spray on each side, kind of where the adhesive is, and then if I let it down, it won't stick again. Okay? And by the way, you should take note of the fact that this is happening in case you use this kicker anywhere near a piece of tape, because it will do the same thing. So you want to just take advantage of that property where you can. So now I'm just getting this last little bit, and I'm sort of suspending everything so I can get a good shot of it on camera, but normally I would do this in a different area. I wouldn't want to float it up in the air like this. I did not want to break this wing in half. Oh yeah, there it is, guys. Woohoo! It's separated! Oh, I am so relieved to get that top off of there, because now that means I can do the awesome stuff I wanted to do. So, first thing I'm going to do, get some of the stuff cleaned up a little bit so I can give you guys a shot of the residue-free top here. I'm going to lay this to the side. That means I should be able to get some other awesome stuff done. I'm going to show you what it looks like in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to take a cotton ball, make sure there's no CA on there, because I like to use CA with this cotton. Sometimes I end up with cotton where I didn't expect it to be rough. We get a little isopropyl alcohol in there, wipe down this top, just get that. I just want to break down this adhesive just a little bit more. Now this is plastic, so you should be able to get away with this with the alcohol. Just be careful if you're doing this on a foam project. You want to be careful. Sometimes the alcohol will have an adverse effect, and there's a lot of sticky stuff on there, and so you can wipe that onto something else, or you can just throw it away and just rotate until you get all the adhesive off. But the idea is, since you've reacted this adhesive with that kicker, until that kicker totally evaporates, and even once it's evaporated, there'll still be a little bit of residual. You want to get that stuff off, so when you glue your wing back on, it'll adhere well. And guys, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure I can do flaps on this, because this plane has safe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just look into the possibility of going ahead and doing flaps at the same time. I hadn't intended to do that at this moment in time, but now that I know how much effort it is to potentially take this wing off, then I don't see any other options. So that's what I'm gonna probably do. Okay guys, so real quick, I've just let this have some time to cook off, and it's just down to tack now, which is good. That's what you want. You don't have to completely get rid of every last little bit of adhesive, but it's better if you can. What I want to show you real quick is, the other day I picked up some broken crap at our shop, and I made a scale. It's a 2-pound test weight. So you can see I've got it set to extreme resolution, so we'll switch that to grams. And so you can see that we have just a really small division size. So if I take this, oh, that's in kilograms here. I want to put it in grams here. I work on industrial scales, so 0.05 grams, so we'll just zero it. Okay, so we're taking this plane. It's just got the wing pulled to the side is all. With floats, because that's the way we're doing it. It'll be with floats afterward too. You can see it's 105.75 grams before. And we'll show you what it is after. Of course, I don't have a battery in there right now, but that shouldn't matter. We'll just measure it empty. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. And this is just an old crap scale that a customer of mine years ago had never decided to fix. So I was like, whatever. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to get back to this. Just wanted to show you that. So I'm actually going to write that down, and we'll have it for before and after, because we're going to add the flaps and the LEDs on this. Okay, so everybody, real quick, got the DX18 ready to go. It's just basically running off of that little 2S battery, elevator, rudder. So what I'm going to do is I need to vet and see if we can actually do flaps on this plane. So obviously we need to be controlling the plane with the radio and see what happens when safe is engaged and all that stuff. So basically safe is off right now, AS3X is on, throttle cut is on and tested. So we should be, you know, safe from the prop spinning around and doing some damage. So I'm going to grab a servo and we'll see how this thing goes. Okay, so got some different choices here. Actually got these little ones, which are different part numbers. This one doesn't have the right type of plug that I know of. We have a linear long throw offset servo, and then we also have these ones, which are, well, I've got this one that was used on another plane, so we could use that for testing if we wanted. And then of course we got these, that's like what I used on the J3 Cub, which worked really nice. So I think this one's the one I'm leaning toward, just because it's similar to the other ones in the plane, and just knowing that when something goes wrong, I'm going to have to open this thing up again. I kind of like the idea of using this instead of the long throw, because these like to get the servo jitters. So we'll just, first of all, we'll see if it plugs in, because this might have a different type of plug than the long throw servos. Okay, so we'll just look. Yeah, they're the same on these two. And again, that part number, this is a Hobby King part number right there. For this, I think it's a 2.5 gram servo. Comes with the goodies. And then this is just like a regular standard long throw servo from Horizon that I pulled out of a crashed plane. So let's see real quick. The long throw's actually got a longer plug, so I might as well go for that. These things are tricky. You got to line up the pins correctly, obviously, and they're just so dang small that it's a little tricky. Okay, so let's see what happens. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Now, I do have to give throttle, so I'm just going to real carefully hold this, see if the prop is going to hit. Okay, it doesn't. Because this could be a throttle channel here. Nope, that doesn't appear to be acting with throttle, so I'm going to clear my timer, test the throttle cut. Okay, so it's not aileron, it's not elevator, it's not rudder. Is it gear? No, it's not gear. So whatever I'm plugged into is either inactive, like it's not going to do anything at all, or it's a spare channel beyond that, which, hold on, I'll just move my other switches and see if any of them make it move. Okay, now I'm going to go into my system monitor. That's not doing anything. Whoops. That's just moving my elevator. It would be moving the flaps, but this might be a higher channel than that. And then it looks like my sliders are off. So I'm going to go into System Setup. I'm going to go down to Channel Assign. I got a DX18 Gen 1. And I'm just going to go into, looks like gear is set as gear. So maybe aux2 will set as aux2, but let's see what's controlling aux2. It looks like E is controlling aux2. Where the heck is E? Oh, E's over here. Okay. So we'll just walk back in there. We'll just see if E changes anything when I flip the switch. No, it doesn't change anything. And neither does F. Neither does the slider switch. So I don't know if that one's just like not a used channel, or if it's not activated, or if it's disabled, or what the deal is. So we'll go to a different channel here, and we'll see what's going on. It looks like this other one's probably going to be for us the aileron port. Gosh, I hate these tags. They're so huge. So I'm going to go into this one that's further over to the left side of the plane. I'll plug it in there. Gosh, this is so stinking awkwardly tight. It is in there. It appears to be in there at least. I didn't feel a snap. Okay, so this one's probably going to act with the aileron, so we'll see. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay, let's test the throttle. Nothing there. Throttle cuts on and tested. So what the hey, guys? We don't have any output from either of those two. So let's try with E. Nothing. Okay, so I'm going over here to my monitor. Dang it. And I do see auxiliary 2 moving, which is tied to E. And I don't see any activity from the servo. So that means I can't use E. I can't use safe. I can't use flaps. Can't use auxiliary 4. Can't use auxiliary 5, just as a Hail Mary there. Obviously, that's not going to do us any good. So let's unplug that. I hate unplugging stuff that way, guys. Pulling on the wires. So I guess for grins and giggles, we could also just test this across a port that's actually working. But this is just really disappointing to me that we may not have a spare channel here, guys. We may not have a choice. And obviously, if you can't control it, it's sort of pointless to try to put them in. Alright, we're trying this one again. Nothing on the rudder. Nothing on the throttle. Throttle cuts on and tested. Nothing on the aileron. Nothing on the elevator. Nothing on E, which would be auxiliary 2. Nothing on auxiliary 1. But you know what? It's just... I'm verifying that the colors are lined up right, so it just doesn't seem to be active, which sucks. So I don't know if that means that it's just disabled, if there's a way to reprogram that, or what the deal is. But I'm going to play with it a little bit, see if I can't get it working, and I'll come right back to you guys. Okay, guys. I got this moving, but it's not on its own port. I basically detached one of the ailerons, this aileron. So you can see that it's working with the aileron input. So that tells me that the channels, that the servo is okay. But for some reason, or for whatever reason in their vast wisdom, Remaiden Hobby decided to use those channels probably for safe. So that is just not cool to me, in my opinion here. Okay, now the other thing I'm noticing is while I'm in here, this wire likes to get in the way of that rudder. Doesn't seem to be causing it to stop moving, but at some point it could cause me a problem, so I might deal with that real quick. Well, guys, I'll just put it to you this way. I've been disappointed by Remaiden Hobby again. There is evidently no way to control from this board another servo. There might be a way, if you've got the programming cable, to hook up to that and reprogram it. But again, I'm not 100% sure you can even do that. So what this video is going to consist of is what I originally intended, which is to hook up the LEDs, get those things running. But hooking up another servo, that's a negative. Hooking up another accessory, that's a negative. Hooking up a water rudder, you could probably do that, but I'm not going to do that because I don't care that much about the water rudder setting. This thing's not going to be on water too often anyway. But I just wanted to let you know so you didn't get your hopes up like I did. So sorry about that. We're going to start doing the LEDs here in just a minute. Okay, getting back to the point, guys. I got these little extension cord looking things for ultra micro servos. I I actually don't know if I ordered them or if they just came with a replacement servo. I think they came with a replacement servo. Ironically enough, the last time I was doing a flat mod, I was trying to use one of these to see if it would work, and it didn't work. So I thought, hey, you know what? That might not be a bad idea to just go ahead and take this thing and use it as a power takeoff from one of those two terminals that are evidently not producing any signal. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't be able to use this to pull power off, and then we can keep a tidy little package for getting things plugged in. The only drawback is, of course, I may need this for a servo someday, and I can always just cut into one of these other wires in order to get some power for my LEDs. So that's my next decision, is whether or not I'm going to use this or I'm going to do something different. I decided I'm using it. I don't want to overthink this project anymore, and I already have. There. Now the decision's been made. I'm going to use this, and I'll probably extrapolate out the unused pin, and then I will have that for another project if I need to tap a single line, because these things are stinking small. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that real quick. Thanks for bearing in there, guys. This video has been frustrating for me too. So first of all, I'm going to make sure that this fits with 100% certainty, which I'm sure it will. It looks like it's going to be fine. Then the next thing I want to do is separate these leads so that they are away from one another, so there's no risk of shorting out the connection. And it looks like the brown and the orange are on the outside, so we can go ahead and eliminate that orange wire. I'm going to try to get this thing to focus for us. Basically, you'll take your X-Acto knife or even smaller tool, and you'll get up under the edge of that, lift it up, and then you can actually pull out this pin. Now, of course, you could leave that pin there if you wanted to, but I just as soon go ahead and take it out. So once that little piece of plastic gets pulled up, then you should be then allowed to pull out the connector, which will just come out like that. Okay? Now you know how to do that, and you can take a power takeoff, and you have no risk of injecting or receiving signal from that signal side of things. Okay, so we got our green LED here. We're going to go ahead and start by marking our two aileron ports so that when we plug them back in, they go the correct direction. Nothing real magical about this. Just take a marker of some color, mark one way, and just mark the other one the other way, and then there's no ambiguity when you go to plug them back in. You'll know which one goes where, and you also know the direction by which it should be installed into the port by looking at where the mark is on the side. And so it's going to look a little something like that, guys. So alright, so, and by the way, there's obviously going to be a few parts to this video, and hopefully you guys will be able to stick in there for it. But I was really bummed to find out that flaps are not going to be viable. If I would have known for sure flaps weren't viable, I wouldn't have done it this way. I would have just left the wing attached. So you can see here this tape has wanted to peel up because that adhesive is weak now. So one thing I might recommend before you get any further is while you've got this off, go ahead and get that tucked down in there. They did a really nice job of getting those into the channel vertically so that it's a smaller channel. You can see that little residual adhesive. I don't know if you guys can see the reflection, but there's residual adhesive there. So, but at this point is a good time to go ahead and get that taken care of. Now we have the wing. We can work on the wing. We can set aside the plane so we don't have to worry about that getting damaged somehow. And I'll come right back to you. Real quick side note, guys, if a guy wanted to strengthen this wing and to do it effectively while the wing is off, you could take and apply one piece of clear tape all the way along the length of this, and that would act as a strut, just like carbon fiber, but much lighter. Get good adhesion and maybe wipe some alcohol along there the first time just to get a very clean spot, and you can apply that all the way from edge to edge, and that will make this thing stay in better shape through its life. So anyway, just want to share that real quick. Sorry about the side note. Okay, so we're about out of recording time, so we're probably going to end up having quite a bit of this on the next video, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and start where we are and get as much done as we can. So this is the green LED, and so I want that green LED to be on this side of the wing. And when you're handling these things, you'll want to hold them by the wire and just occasionally kind of straighten those wires up. But don't wipe off your marking. I have a little black marking right there that indicates to where the negative is going to be. So we're going to basically take this thing, the LED, we're going to figure out exactly where we want it to be placed, then we're going to decide whether or not we want to trim it up or if we want to just go for it. I'm not sure. I might actually want to poke a small hole and then feed these lines through it instead of just gluing it to the surface, because if we just glue it to the surface, then we got to wrap around the edge, and I'd like it to be right there. So let's see if we can accommodate that real quick. And you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and call it. We'll come right back to this on video number 3. This is concluding video number 2 of the Cessna 182 LED modification for the Horizon Hobby UMX Cessna 182. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.